Hello, basically we are discussing on the topic that is city creation. City creation basically we are discussing on the topic that is vitamins creation. In vitamins creation basically we are discussing on the topic that is design. So in previous video basically we have saw something new basically today. So that was basically new which is not created. So you have to create it basically. So that basically is the World Bank's responsibility who tracks the new ideas basically, and that basically they do basically. They basically do basically, but they how they do that basically we don't know basically. For that basically few people say that Russian group basically are there basically. They keeps on watching each and every laptops basically, each and every computers basically. भाई ये क्या कर रहा है? Each and every people's laptops basically. क्या मतलब what he is doing basically. They try to understand basically what he is doing basically. So that basically currently basically they are basically doing that basically. So this basically 100 city basically can do. So that basically Russian group basically can do this basically because Russian group have that energy basically. From their energy basically that city 100 city basically can create, and that 100 city will be equal to AI tool basically, which is going to created by the any of the software company who are basically the experts into the AI basically, and then basically the AI is going to track that basically this person basically. So he that particular AI basically that city basically 100 city which is going to create basically that should have each and every condition of each and every post basically, that is the education sector basically, which is so here basically the main basically is education sector basically. You should have the good knowledge of the education sectors basically. For that basically the for that basically this is the only option, that is education equal to education energy. Education are MBA energy, MBA post, MBA energy. CA, that is chartered accountant energy. Chartered accountant CS, company secretary energy. Like this, manager, CEO, vice president, this everything basically developers, quality departments, and each and every human hardworking group basically. Then each and everything basically connects here basically. So one of the person told that basically you have to do basically, that is so in that basically is the thing basically. So one of the person told that basically for that basically few people says that basically that stories basically are created na basically, stories basically are created, and that story basically are handled by the Bollywood group basically. Stories basically are handled by the Bollywood groups basically. So this basically just now basically I told basically that was supposed to be tracked by the Bollywood group basically, because 100 city basically which was supposed to be do basically, that was supposed to track by the Bollywood group basically. So it might possible that basically Bollywood group might have given the suggestion, and the suggestion basically might not have applied basically. That is also basically possible, but mostly that is not possible basically. So Bollywood group basically might was supposed to track this basically, which just now basically I told, but they have not tracked basically. So that basically Bollywood groups things basically, that basically Bollywood is supposed to track here basically. So one of the person told that set of stories basically are there basically in this world basically, and that stories are basically equal to creation basically. So one of the person told that there are many stories basically, bear story, romantic story, this story, that story, that story, this story, Vadodara story basically. What is Vadodara story basically? Vadodara people basically are equal to set of stories basically, their stories basically, and their stories basically are equal to energies basically, and energies are equal to this that basically. And one of the person told that Vadodara group, for example in India basically assume that basically 1,75,000 cities basically are there. So 1,75,000 city basically assume that basically here basically I just take the one things basically 1,75,000 cities equal to stories, and stories are equal to groups, and these blood groups are equal to connecting to the which education he can be into. So this is the thing basically which is basically supposed to be created basically. And this basically governments always do basically. And one of the person told that there are many people basically who are connected with the governments basically. If anybody says anything basically about the governments, they immediately basically fires basically, and they basically returns gets the return also basically. So wait that for returns basically, that is also going to happen basically. So one of the person told that yeah, गवर्नमेंट्स की दादागिरी तो बहुत है. If anybody finds to try to find the mistake of the government basically, that basically they immediately fires that particular person basically, because they only allocates the laptop companies, computer companies to the city basically. If anything basically goes, if anything anybody is basically doing the wrong basically to the government, but actually that was not wrong basically, that was the government mistakes basically that's supposed to be fined basically, and that basically was founded basically. So for that basically immediately governments only basically fire, government group basically fires that particular person basically. So that is also basically, that basically governments basically you can say the post basically government basically can't do mistakes basically. So that might be possible because the government takes lots of time basically to prepare the each and every system analysis basically. So one of the person told that this is the thing basically, this is the city creation, and city creation only government does basically. Government only have the rights basically to the create the city. Here basically governments are connected with IITs, IIMs, MBAs groups, the education sectors basically, because you have to create the education data also basically. That's why basically education 1 lakh city is equal to stories, and stories are equal to blood groups, and blood groups are equal to which education sector basically you can be basically, and that basically nowadays basically equal to human needs creations. So you can just imagine this basically things are the, this is the formula basically you can say, this is the formula basically you can say. This is that formula basically. So one of the person told that India government basically, India Vadodara city, like this Vadodara city basically there are in India basically there are 1,75,000 cities. They have stories. They basically creates blood groups, which education basically would be, and according to that basically, and education basically, or basically you can say other work also basically, other works also basically you can say. So like this basically things are basically there. So that connects to the blood groups basically, and which education sector basically he basically can be, or other works basically, and then according to that basically the human needs basically creation happens basically. So this is also basically one of the thing, and then basically the universe design basically happens, and then basically the planned creation, then planned creation basically are equal to real stories basically, and the real energies basically. So world system basically, in world system basically cricket are created. Cricket basically are connected with the hard works basically. Bollywood groups basically are connected with the everything basically. Software companies are also basically there, because these all are the system basically. Software companies are there basically. The malls basically are they also into this basically. Power companies are there. These all are the systems basically you can say. These all are the systems basically you can say, which is created by the governments, and in this basically the vitamins group basically plays the dangerous role basically, plays the dangerous role basically. So you can just see basically which is created. So in this basically we have saw basically that this whole thing basically that prime minister is supposed to die basically or not, prime minister presidency is supposed to die or not basically. These all are basically connected with the human needs basically, and human needs basically are this basically. So government basically tracks this everything basically. This is the main thing basically. Human needs creation basically, and human needs only basically connects to the each and every creations of the future basically. And 175 city creation is the base of the entire creation basically. Entire creation. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.